Happy Thursday. Thank you for watching. Anytime you get to this content, almost the end of the week. Yay, happy Thursday. Hope every moment is a fresh beginning. Have a beautiful day when it comes to this Thursday. Nice, breezy. Weather is nice. Can't complain. Have health and strength. That's the most. Food and shelter. That is the greatest. Hope everyone is doing well so far. We're here to come and discuss a conversation a topic on basically, a woman that fall in love with prisoners. You heard about stories where Joshua, good morning. You heard about stories where woman goes to prison and visit their lovers. You hear a story where woman was with a man and then the man end up crashing out or what have you, or some kind of mishap, and then the man end up going to prison and the woman stand by the man. You have women that they decide that they don't want no man out here. They fall in love with murderers and the list go on in prison and go and visit them on a conjugal visit. Some of those prison, especially some of these prison out here, that more time you're allowed to go and visit up to 40 days. To go and visit some of these, your lovers and all. There's also two women. This is the second woman so far has been killed on conjugal visit in the prison, in one prison so far. And one of them were killed by their domestic abuse lover. Like I said, maybe she decided to work it out, although he's gone to prison. And another one that was already on for life sentence, murder. So I asked myself, didn't she not know that this man was a 4-time murderer? I guess not. But again, then you look at it the other way and people will be like, geez, wheeze. Why would somebody fall in love with somebody in prison? Well, the only difference is you have women out here fall in love with thief, gunman, murderer, and they're walking street. The only difference, that one is incarceration. That's the only difference. So the question becomes, why a lot of women deal with criminals? That should be the great and the number one question. So now, people, we're not going to drag it out. Before we move on, we want to get into some other stuff before we move on, okay? We want to shout out happy birthdays to whoever's having a birthday. Lots of Pisces running around. So happy birthday to whoever's having a birthday this month, so to speak. We also want to big up, as you guys know, Queen Ifrica birthday not too long past. So since we have like 2 days up on it, we want to say happy birthday to Derek Morgan coming up, and then Queen Ifrica and Finlay Quay from the reggae artist now. Not only that, we also, like I said, want to say happy birthday, Queen Ifrica. They beat her bad. She can't get no visa to travel anywhere because they claim that the LGBTQQQ is stopping her from getting all of these visa. I am not sure, allegedly, or maybe she don't have a proper manager to sort out those visas, because we see all kind of walk of life is getting visa, and this lady is an empire, a pioneer in the Hamagidi and in the music, stand for rights, stand for all kind of good things when it comes to rights and moral and moralities and all of that, on the standards of morals, right? Not only that, she come out and she burn out when it comes to certain politics and all of that. Not only that, we saw her issue where she came out and said about her dad. All of those are allegations. Those are alleged. We don't see anything out in court yet. We also heard about the abuse from her daughter or her stepdaughter. Plus, we also heard about the abuse from Queen Ifrica in regards of her partner. So we know she's been through a lot. And we just want to big her up on this good birthday. So happy birthday to Queen Ifrica. And nevertheless, like I said, big up to the queen. More time people think she mad. But when you stand up for morals, when you have morals, dignity, and pride, more time people think that you're mad. So again, at the end of the day, happy Thursday. Big up you guys, nice, clean self. And don't forget, like I said, to like, comment and share. Punch up the share button. Punch up the like button. Stomped on the comment section. Not only that, guys, before we get into the content again, we don't want to drag it out. We're going to come and talk about the story in the week. Family calls for release of a woman legally in the U.S. For 50 years and now detained by ICE. Imagine that you're in America for 50 years. They always say there's the most illegal people they claim say is in America. But look at the story, people. Family calls for release of a woman legally in US for 50 years and now detained by ICE. The woman is in the country legally, but you have lots of illegal people. But this lady is in America legally, and she's detained by ICE for 50 years. Say what now? For 50 years detained by ICE. So she been in America for 50 years legally, and now she's detained by ICE. So it seems like ICE is picking up people whether they're legal, illegal, legal, well, illegal. Because there was another person got held up at the Mexican border the other day going into the US and was locked up in ICE, and she's freed. So nowadays, is going into America right now, whether you're Canadian, whether you are from the Philippines, wherever you're from, anywhere in the world, I guess you gotta be mindful, careful. Okay, so I gotta shout that out because what? She's legally in America for 50 years and now detained by ICE. So a lot of people now are being detained by ICE, whether you have good documents or don't have no documents the way I see it. Because Donald Trump is on a rampage, want to make everybody feel he's the boss, he's doing this, he's doing that. But when you really look at it, he was charged with all these kind of things, and people will shout out, criminal, 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 alleged. Anyways, moving right on, guys. Okay, not only that, also we want to shout out this. There's another story called Salvation Army dismiss warnings allowing a music director to abuse a girl for years, lawsuit says. So there's a big lawsuit brewing from a girl that from she was 14 years old. She was basically Joelle Collier, if you guys don't know, was accused of grooming and sexual abusing Riley Neville beginning when she was 14 years old, attending music camps. So we want to talk about all of that as well, okay? So we're going to come back another day to talk about that, but I just want to push that over, glimpse that over for a bit to let you guys know what's happening. Remember, again, I'm going to advertise this again. Remember when Rihanna says that she wasn't sure if Fenty was going to Fentyland Beauty was going to be in Jamaica? Like I shouted out yesterday, if you watch the content, Rihanna will be in Fontana Pharmacy by April. So check out those things if you like beauty products. Now, anyways, people, let's run on with the content. Too much talking, but you don't know we're running with our content. So we try to fix it up. Yay, we. So again, happy birthday to everybody out there. And again, we're going to go back to happy Thursday. Like I said. Now, people, this has been 2 women has been killed visiting their boyfriend in this state prison. One was almost a cover-up, allegedly. They told their family member, the lady that passed away, that she passed away by natural cause or some of that sort. But when they did an investigation, when the autopsy came back, the California prison woman died of strangulation. So let's get into the story and get into some other things, please and thanks.
The department's saying that was the second visitor to death. Killed while visiting a prison. Another woman, 62-year-old Stephanie Dowles, was killed there back in November, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. The department's saying that that was the second visitor to die in that same prison in the same year. Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo. Stephen, I'm not sure if I had that right. So these are two women, different occasions, both visiting, and both end up dead?
Yeah, it is a tragic situation.
My favorite cake, actually, Joshua, I like sorrel cake if I make it. I don't really eat too much cakes out there because, as you know, that I'm lactose, certain milk and stuff like that. And you know me, depends on the eggs you're using and stuff like that. So I like my own cake, sorrel cake as well. And I like also cheesecake, right? So those are my two favorites the way I see it. And my cookies, I like actually chocolate chip, the soft one. And I like also almond cookies. And I like myself some coconut cookies as well. Okay, so let's get back to the content, quick and fast.
For the families of both of these women. One, Tanya Thomas, was visiting last July with her domestic partner, and she ended up dying, and her partner charged for that murder. It is a different story right now for Stephanie Dowles, who you're seeing there on the left side of your screen. She actually died last November, but only in the past few days have we heard from the county involved there, the sheriff's department, saying that this is a homicide, deeply upsetting to her family. The prison there allows these overnight visits to happen with close family members of some of their inmates. When she was staying with her husband, David Brinson, last November, she lost consciousness. He called the corrections officers to this apartment unit type facility that they have there for these visitations, told them that she was not responsive. They called not.
You hear what he said? She lost consciousness. Oh, she passed out. Remember, in these kind of visits, nobody goes in that visits. At times, the guard will come around and do a head count. You just peep out, yeah, I'm here, and that's it. Remember, they claim you have a right, even if you're a murderer in prison, living off of taxes money. But remember, I came and said to you guys again, when it comes to these prisons, there's people buying stocks and bonds. I don't need to drag this out. If you're watching my content, you want to hear me clear and cut, or cut and clear. Not only that, you guys will realize that lots of these workplaces are using prisoners to do as cheap and free labor. We also knew about the California fire the other day, when there was a fire and the fire station or the fire department was overhauled, overrun. We also had prisoners putting out fire. So remember, there are good resources for a lot of people out here. If you don't know, so more time you're always like, why does people commit crime? Well, when a lot of people behave like asses, when a lot of people don't look to say, yeah, if I create a disaster out here and get myself locked up, I'll be a slave all over again, right? Because remember, certain things that are not made out here, like your license plate, it's made in prison. Certain things, don't make I have to give you guys fact check, because I will do all of that in one content. So these things benefit the prison. Remember, again, most of these prisons are private owned and contract out by the government, so they make a bag of money. So let's count with us. Free labor, free work, help out some other department. You don't gotta pay them no benefit. You don't pay them no money. Not only that, as well, you can buy stocks and bonds off of them. And not only that, a private owner, you make all kind of money. So who do you win-win? So why wouldn't you not keep on opening these prison walls behind these prison walls, and then hoping that people behave like asses and come land themselves in there for years till they could end up having these kind of visit and end up killing someone in a facility after you're locked up in a facility for a crime? Make that make sense for me. Let me repeat myself. You are in a facility that the court, bam, the judge, bam, you're sentenced to so and so. But yet still, you're allowed to have a visitor to come and do all the things you want to do in the room up to 40 days. But then you end up killing in that same facility. They have you on boundaries, rules, and regulation. Make that make sense for me. So all of those things are money making thing. What your some people downfall is some people up richness and up rightful. The way I see it. Let's continue.
One, sadly, she died. Now the sheriff's office is calling this a homicide, and it is shocking that this is the second one in such a short amount of time, causing a lot of people, including Dowell's family, to ask how this could have happened.
So, Stephen, to that end, what have we learned from the family and the state?
Yeah, a lot of questions to the state about this, Zinclay. They have said that these family visits only happen for inmates that are screened thoroughly. They sent us a statement saying, in part, that these family visits are a privilege, and in part, incarcerated persons must apply and meet strict eligibility requirements. Now, as for Dowell's family, they have a lot of questions about how.
Let's get into another one. Okay. So now we know that they're screened. Do you hear that? And they're in strict regulation to get the visit to come in. But these people are notorious murderer. One is in there murdering 4-time life sentence and still end up killing the woman. Murderer, blood is on your shoulder. Kill I tomorrow, gonna kill. Hey, I don't even know how to even murmur the rest of the songs though, or the rest of the word. Let's continue for a second. So you're gonna hear about how notorious this asshole was. Sorry, my French. Okay, this man was a lunatic, rather, right? Get into this
I
one.
had seen every kind of murder you could imagine. Name a location, a victim, a motive, a suspect, a weapon. I've covered 10 of them. But never a woman killed on a conjugal visit to a husband. A husband who's serving 4 life sentences for murder.
Listen.
That one is a first, for me, anyway.
Listen.
Still, if any inmate would strangle a loving and trusting and clearly devoted spouse, David Brinson is a pretty likely candidate. Back in 1990,
Okay, so this guy was already on 4 life sentence and he ended up having a visit. Wait a minute. He ended up had a visit, guys, and he ended up killed again. Look at him. So all these people deserve rights, especially if he killed and he wasn't in prison wrongfully. Huh? And he ended up killing again. Let's continue. Okay? Let's continue, guys. This is insane. Okay? Let's continue.
and stormed into a Los Angeles apartment aiming to rob a retired tavern owner who he thought was a drug dealer. But alas, there were no drugs. There were no big wads of cash, just 4 men sitting there watching a basketball game. So David Brinson made a plan. He forced all 4 of those men to the floor and he shot them one by one in the backs of their heads, also known as execution style.
Listen.
David Brinson was convicted of that, and he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms with no possibility of parole.
Listen.
And at some point, while David Brinson was marking off those long days at the Mule Creek State Prison in California, he connected with Stephanie Dowells on the outside.
Listen.
Stephanie was known to her family as Stevie.
Yep.
And she was a successful salon owner.
This is another lady, the second lady that was murdered recent, guys. That's her. That's the lady not too long murdered again. Rich, big woman in her age. End up with this man that, remember, execute 4 people. Got 4 life and end up managed to con this woman her heart and end up killing her in the jail again. In that prison, second woman to be murdered in a facility that is taking you from the rest of the world that you're a dangerous defendant. Could you imagine? So make that make sense for me. Make that make sense for me, guys. And I want you guys to see who she is clearly. Okay? Because rest in peace, she passed away. There she is. Beautiful black sister, up in her age, lived life for so long, and end up making a savage, a mutt. Killed her in a facility that he's away from the real world because he cannot control his anger, because he's a murderer. Blood is on your shoulder. Could you imagine? So let's continue to listen. Please and thanks.
mother of two and a grandmother of 6.
See?
Stevie believed that she was helping inmate Brinson find redemption, thereby making him a better man, and soon she married him. Not long after that, the state of California allowed her to be alone with him
Listen.
during something commonly known as the conjugal visit.
What did I say?
Nowadays, there are only 4 states that allow conjugal visits. Bet you didn't know that. California is one of them. Inmates with good behavior can earn what are called family visits that take place in apartment-like facilities on the prison grounds.
Yep.
And those visits can last up to 40 hours. That also surprised me.
40
Stevie
hours,
and
guys.
David, they were on a conjugal visit last November 13th when David picked up the phone and told the officers that his wife had passed out. The paramedics tried to revive her, but less than an hour later, Stevie was dead.
Yep.
For the next 4 months, her family was led to believe that Stevie...
Look how beautiful this sister is. Look how beautiful she is. She was dead. And the prison didn't tell her away that she was dead by the prisoner, because, you know, it would be a liability. Money. Because remember, again, like we shout, that's a facility that you're keeping the coward, the murderer, away from real society. Rehabilitation, you guys claim. You guys got him under rules and regulation. Remember, she wasn't a prisoner. And remember, women and men don't stay in the same place unless they are guard. And I believe it would be more men in the men jail more than women, I would think, and that would be more safer. And she's dead like dog. Let's continue.
of natural causes. But then the coroner determined something else.
Did you hear what they said the prison told them? She died from natural causes. Look how young this woman is. Died from natural causes, really? So what did I say? Months later, they found out she was strangled like a dog. So I had to come and shout out this situation, because women out here, I know more time, loneliness is not a goodness. Lying with your pillows is not a goodness. But sometimes in life, you guys pass on so much opportunity came you guys' way, and you guys in the fault because you guys are looking for a perfect man, and this kind of man, and that kind of man. No man is perfect. They have their ways, and you have to either grow with it, work with it, but don't take an abuse or don't take any disrespect. And it's always, if you love cold-heartedly and unconditionally, then more time it will work. But if you love from the head what you can give me, blah, 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 try to build together, try to have understanding, and also at times give each other space, and at also time do things together the way I see it. Let's continue.
Coroner determined that Stevie was strangled, apparently by the man she married and conjugally visited at the prison.
See?
While Stevie's last visit on November 13th seemed to be the final chapter for her, we are now learning some new details.
Continue.
David Brinson had apparently engaged in several conjugal visits with Stevie.
Several and tame her, and then end up killing her. Remember, this man was already in prison for life. Remember what happened? He went to a home, they claim. Thought it was a drug dealer home, they claim. And he killed 4 people, they claim. And he's in prison for that. And married the woman who's out in real life society where there's so much man running around. But yes, you can't tell who to love and who to love who. And now he ended up killing her. Waving the guard, she passed out. Please help. And then the jail, liability, black sister again. So maybe the investigation just went boop. But the family keep on pressing. What happened to my loved one? And the coroner come back and say no, strangulation. So now on the 4th charge of murder, he's going to get the 5th. Oh no. And possible another woman is going to fall in love with him again. Oh no. Let's continue.
Including one in which her 3-year-old grandson was present.
Listen.
Let that sink in for a hot minute. He's a multiple murderer with a wife and grandson on the premises. We've also learned that Brinson attempted to take his own life
Hear this?
back in July and failed, and yet was still allowed his visits with Stevie afterwards. As of yet, no charges, additional, I should say, have been filed against Brinson. DA says he's still waiting for a full report.
Listen, so you see, what did I say? So not even any charges hasn't been filed yet. And she was killed in their facility where they're supposed to guard this man and have him on guard because he's an animal, basically. Also tried to kill himself, and he wasn't put on a different range of suicide watch. I guess let we shout. Who cares about the black fella? I am not sure. Who cares about the black community? I don't know. Seriously? Oh no.
From the prison. But Stevie's family is heartbroken. They want justice, not to mention answers. They want answers. Why are murderers with multiple victims being allowed these family visits? Why did it take 4 months to classify Stevie's death as a homicide? And how many more times will prison officials let this kind of thing happen? Because I hope you have a drink, because this story is about to take a turn sideways. Stevie was not the only woman killed on a conjugal visit at the Mule Creek State Prison.
That's what I told you guys.
Also last year, on July 1st,
This lady again went and found a lover there and ended up dead, like I said to you guys. So this lady is the second. Okay, so we had to highlight this and said, women, once you see danger, hear about danger, it's dangerous. Please don't bother. To be honest, let's continue.
was allegedly killed by her domestic partner during her visit to the prison. A partner of hers, Anthony Curry, is a convicted carjacker and attempted murderer, and his case just went to the DA in December. I'm joined now by Stevie Dell's daughter, Natalie Jimenez. Natalie, thank you so much for being with me, and I'm so sorry.
And that's her daughter, okay? Activist for her mom.
For what you and your family are going through, especially just how complicated it seems and the lack of answers. How did you first find out about this, and where do things stand today?
We found out Wednesday morning, November 13th. We got the phone call that she was found passed out.
She passed away, and now her mom. Or her mom passed away, and then them. See? And then her. This was a guy was already in incarceration, 4-time murder already. And her mom died from the hands of the domestic abuse husband or boyfriend, to be honest. Let's continue.
And they weren't able to resuscitate her. About 2 weeks
Did
later,
they say anything more about it?
No.
Before we go further, did they say anything about being passed out? Did they say she'd hit her head, or that she appeared to have a seizure, or anything else that was informative other than just passed out?
No. When David called, he called me. He said when he woke up to go to the restroom, he found her passed out. When he went to the restroom and came back, he found her passed out. But it's like, how did you not see her passed out before you went to the restroom?
Exactly.
You know, I also asked, what time did she go to sleep? He gave me about 2-3 different times. Every time I asked him to repeat the story to me, he probably changed it about 4 to 5 times.
Alhamdulillah, huge news from Gaza.
Could you imagine?
150,000.
Could you imagine every time she asks for the axe, he basically changed the story. So they start to investigate. And that's why now you hear that there's a different situation or problem, right?
So what happened? Like, why did it take 4 months for them to finally come up with strangulation? I mean, 4 months seems an awfully long time to come up with something other than passed out, something as serious as strangulation. And 4 months seems a long time to let you and your family know that.
It is. 4 months. I honestly think they were trying to sweep it under. You know, it was a little short after, we had help from a forensic person, and when he seen the body, he said there was evidence of abuse, so to do a private autopsy. So I really do think the prison was trying to go around it, and they found out that we were doing a private autopsy, and they just decided
Because it would be a liability, because that was in a facility again, correctional facility, where you're keeping this animal away from society, that you guys will have him under control and the rules and regulation, regardless if he has a visit is right. That lady was supposed to go in safe and come out safe. So the facility is still going to be under hot water when it comes to a civil lawsuit, I would think. Seriously, right? Liability, the way I see it, right? Let's continue.
tell us, but 4 months is still a lot. I think they knew sooner, and they could have told us sooner. I honestly feel like they were just trying to find a way to go around it.
What did you know about David Brinson, and were you ever concerned about Stevie going inside the prison walls to spend time alone with him in an enclosed space that's unmonitored?
I mean, you know, speaking.
See, those spaces are unmonitored. The only time that they see the guard is when the guard is doing a head count. So maybe in the morning, hey, lunchtime, hey, night, hey, and he push out his head and that's it. Ain't nobody going in those rooms now, because they have a right to privacy, although they're murderers. Make that sit in for a minute. So what do we say to you guys? Because it's a money-making institution. The last time I checked, let's continue.
It was, you wouldn't think too much of it. You know, it seemed like he was trying to get better. You know, he was in school. He knew I was doing treatments. I was doing chemo treatments and things like that. So he would call me, and he would do like prayers before me going to my treatments. And, you know, he would engage a lot, or try to engage a lot. A lot of the family wasn't a big fan of him just because he was in prison. Nobody really knew what he was in prison for. So, you know, everything coming out.
I was going to say, what do you make of the fact that July 1st, this had happened to Tanya Thomas? She was allegedly killed by her domestic partner. It's two of these in 1 year. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I feel like they should have stopped conjugal visit when it happened to Tanya. They should have definitely stopped it. And even with David trying to commit suicide, he shouldn't have no type of visitation after that attempt.
Are you and your family planning to sue the prison based on the fact that there'd been a death like this in July, and that, you know, your mom was murdered in November?
See, guys?
Yes. Definitely, we do want justice for my mom. You know, definitely for CDRC to change their policies and be more involved with the civilians instead of the inmates. You know, just like inmates have to check in 4 times out of the night, they should at least check on civilians 2 to 3 times a day or in the night, whatever the case is. But yes, we do plan on going after the prison.
I told you guys. There would be account for liability, because the mom's supposed to be safe coming out, gun going in. Oh my. I could imagine how many more people died in many other prisons and nobody come and talk about it. So we're not going to drag it out. I'm sure you guys understand and fully aware the content that I was trying to deliver today to you guys. Like I said, stocks and bonds. Okay. Okay. Like I said, you can buy stocks and bonds. Okay. All right. You could buy stocks and bonds in prison. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys. All right? Since I want to show you guys. So I'm going to take this off for a second. So all of this is just a money-making institution. All right? So I want to show you guys what stocks are, and you keep on saying that, see? What are the stocks for prisoners? Right there. Not that one, right there, right? Right here. What is the best prison stock to invest in? There it is. The GEO is one of the best prison stocks to buy. There it is. Those are the companies that own most of these jails. There you go. The GEE group. Or do you guys want me to get into it some more? Okay. We're going to get in there for a second, okay? 1 second. Let's do something for a second. So you see who owned the prisons? So let's get into it. All right, 1 second. One second. It's called Profiting from Prisoner Abuses, GEO Group Prisoners Profiters. And let's get into this content quick and fast, okay? So here they are, like I said to you guys, all right? These are what it is, if you guys don't know, right? Remember, say who makes money from the private prison? We already went through that the other day. I dropped this content the other day, all of that. But I just want to get into the groups for a second and let you guys listen.
Just how low can private prisons go? Ask the Geo Group. This corporation makes $1.6 billion a year locking people up. Its long record of abusing and neglecting prisoners is second to none.
The Coke County facility was a facility run by the Geo Corporation. It was disgusting. There was an infestation of insects everywhere you looked, including the kitchen, insects in the food. It was horrible.
East Mississippi Correctional Facility, and it was run by Geo the first 2 months that I was there. Just dirty, nasty, unsanitary conditions. I mean, people get stabbed in there, they're bleeding, or they get in a fight and they're bleeding. They don't give no cleaning chemicals to clean the place up or nothing. The sewer kept backing up in the zones.
So what did I say to you guys? So they came under fire last time for all of that, right? Then we're going to get into it for a little bit. So I'm just giving you guys a little bit fact check. Just facts check as always, okay? I don't want to say things out there and then make you guys say, or more time you guys maybe don't want to look after that fact or go look for that fact, so I rather to drop it in. Now, who makes the most money from prison? It would be private prison, right? So let's get into this one. Just a little bit, guys, okay? Just to wrap this content up quick and fast, all right?
At Fidelity.
Right? Just a second, all right, guys? So we're just waiting for it to listen.
The privatization of prisons and detention centers has been a source of debate for over 3 decades.
There has to be some things in our society that we agree are not a business opportunity.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with profiting off of anything. The question is, are you providing a service with good quality, with humane conditions, and so on?
The moral imperative of government should be to deliver the best outcome.
The U.S. privatized parts of its state and federal corrections and detention facilities in the 1980s. 2 companies in particular, CoreCivic and Geo Group, have dominated the industry.
So who I said owned the prisons again? CoreCivic and the Geo Group. So if you never knew that or you never know that, now you know. That's why it's good to subscribe, and that's why it's good to watch the content, and that's why it's good to share the content, because more time, yeah, we come with a lot of things, but more time we come with facts and reality. No gimmicks, yeah? Let's continue.
But the uncertainty of a highly polarized industry stems mainly from the political climate. At the end of President Obama's second term, Then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates announced that the administration would phase out private prisons. Core Civic and Geo stocks plummeted. 2 months later, President Trump was elected.
Did you hear? Core Civic and Geo stocks. So what did I say? You can invest in stocks and bonds on prisoners and prison. Okay? So that's why they're not closing down these things no matter what goes on in it. That's why they're not closing down those things no matter how much wrongful conviction is there. That's why they're not closing down these things because of all of these kind of things. People are out there making money for people to be barbaric, savage, and all of these things. Murder, drugs, and all of these kind of things. It's a cycle. Okay, everybody deserve a job, I guess, and you're done fault, and some people and a lot of different cultures fault because they say 90% of people who are incarcerated are the black culture. To be honest, let's continue for a bit more.
And the stocks soared.
There has been political sensitivity in our stock. It's unfortunate, but our focus continues to.
This is the CEO of the GEO group that owns the prison. Here he is. Okay, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. A little bit more, we're not going to drag it out, okay?
Operations, that's what we can control. We can't control the political dynamic.
But lately, things have taken a deeper turn. Democratic candidates call for a total abolition. A number of states have or could be banning the industry. And Wall Street is divesting. On top of it all, prison populations are decreasing.
That's a huge indictment.
Despite all the noise in the market.
Okay. So all of that. So we're not going to drag this out. Now, let's go back to what is made in prison. Remember I told you guys a lot of stuff are made in prison? Okay. What is not being manufactured out here in the public? So what was in... Okay. These are some things that was invented in prison, guys. You'll be laughing. Maybe all condoms. Look. There you go. Okay. What companies invest in prison? Like I said to you guys, you can buy stocks and bonds. There are two major groups. Like I told you, I show you one of the CEO, Geo Group and the Core Civic Group. Like I said to you guys, facts check. Okay. What weapon is made in prison? Hold on 1 second. 1 second. What daily essential? One second. $11 products that was made in prison, okay? 1 second. Where is it? Oh, jeez, what happened here? 1 second. I'm gonna word it different, okay? So these are the things that I told you in prison that are manufactured in prison. Military making jackets, military stuff, uniform, helmet, shoes, even flank vests. Okay? All right? Those are the things that are made in prison. 10 everyday products you'll be surprised that are made in prison, they claim. 10. So, if you don't know, Victoria's Secret bra. Remember I told you about the canoes and stuff? Yes? Remember I told you about the military jackets and stuff? Remember that I tell you guys about the baseball hats? Remember I told you guys about the blue jeans? Remember I told you guys about the McDonald's uniform in the past? Remember I said to you guys also dentures in the past, okay? Park furniture, okay? Caskets are made in jail, okay? And also lots of arts are made in jail, if you didn't know. Okay, guys? So go and buy McDonald's if you support all of these kind of things. Okay? Just letting you guys know. And lots of prisoners are coming out to working into some of these fast food chain as well. So you know these days you don't know who's looking after your food. If you know the system, I know the prison system. I know what's going on in the prison system. Okay, guys? So I'm going to wrap up this live again, guys, and say thank you one more time for stopping by. And I just want to say happy Monday. Happy Monday coming sooner or later, where I want to come and bring lots of other contents and put 3 and 4 contents in everything else. But today we're working with today, and we say happy Thursday. Every moment is a fresh beginning. Okay, guys? And always remember that. And just remember when happy Monday come, because remember every week you say I go happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday. Now we're at happy Thursday. Tomorrow will be happy Friday and the list. So when Monday comes on, I'm going to try to mix the content, like shorter one of the content, and mix 2 to 3 content in one live. So that will be run up with every other people that watch, whether they like mix up, whether they like content like this, and every other things that you can fill in and put in the blank as well. Happy birthday to everybody who's having a birthday in this month. Big up your nice clean self. And like I said, we're gonna come and revisit this situation where family calls for release of a woman legally in US for 50 years and now detained by ICE. We're gonna want to talk about that story some other time, and also want to talk about this Salvation Army situation where a girl was abused for years, lawsuit with the Salvation Army. We will also want to come and talk about that. And like I said, big up Queen Ifrica, the freedom fighter, the woman, almost Nanny the Maroon, fighting out here, and her earth strong not too long past. So thank you again, guys. Thank you again for coming out and watching this content, so to speak. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the new subscribers. And for everybody again, to the people in my life who make me smile, love me, support me, and bring me joy. Thank you very much. And running up this life, people, peace and love. And again, people, don't forget to like. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe, comment and share. Okay, guys, and big up on a nice clean self. And again, peace and love.